You say you want it. You say you're ready, but the truth is, you haven't bled for it. You haven't broken for it. You haven't sacrificed the old version of yourself to make room for the weight of what you keep praying for. And that's why it hasn't come. The universe isn't withholding it. God isn't hiding it. The blessing, the success, the destiny isn't lost. You are. You're asking for a life that costs more than you've been willing to pay. You want the crown, but you're still afraid of the cross. And here's the law nobody teaches. You won't receive what you're not prepared to carry. You can speak it, write it, vision board it. But until your character has been shaped by fire, until your habits can hold the weight of the dream you desire, until your standards rise higher than your excuses, that breakthrough will stay behind the veil, watching you run in circles, watching you beg for a calling you won't commit to. You see, the prize doesn't go to the loudest. It goes to the most trained, the most disciplined, the most obedient not just to orders, but to purpose. And purpose doesn't whisper when it shows up. It demands, it commands, it strips you of comfort and asks, are you strong enough to carry the thing you say you were born for? Because blessing has weight, responsibility has resistance, and destiny is heavy. People want the mountain, but they refuse the climb. They want the platform, but hate the process. You want freedom, but won't master discipline. You want leadership, but fear rejection. You want abundance, but still tolerate scarcity in your habits, in your mindset, in your self-image. You want God to trust you with more, but you haven't proven mastery over less. Listen closely. The reason it hasn't shown up is not because it's not real. It's because you're not yet real enough to hold it. You haven't become the version of you that can carry the next level. And until you do, until you build that version, you'll keep getting reminders, not rewards. Doors that almost open, opportunities that almost work, relationships that almost grow. Why? Because almost is the echo of your preparation. Almost is the result of a half-built self. And if you want the weight of greatness, if you want the pressure of purpose, you must train your soul like a soldier trains his hands for war. You must become so rooted in resilience, so grounded in gratitude, so obsessed with mastering the moment you're in, that the universe has no choice but to hand you the future you were built for. Because now you're prepared. Now you've earned the right to carry it. Preparation is not glamorous. It's not posted. It's not praised. But it's the only path. See, the spotlight doesn't make you stronger. It exposes what you built in the dark. And if you've built nothing, if you've trained nothing, if your roots are shallow, your rise will betray you. Fame will crush you. Success will drown you. Blessings will feel like burdens, because you asked for the crown before you developed the spine. That's why most people sabotage their future. Not because they didn't dream it, but because they didn't become worthy of it. You've got to stop asking for more while living like less. Stop saying you want to lead when you're still ruled by laziness. Stop saying you want wealth when you can't even steward your mornings. Stop saying you want freedom while staying addicted to the chains of comfort. The most dangerous thing you can do is pull what you're not prepared to handle. Because what you refuse to master will eventually master you. So stop praying for promotion and start preparing for pressure. Stop fantasizing about your destiny and start forging your discipline. Because the battlefield isn't out there. It's in here in your mind, in your patterns, in your unseen choices that no one applauds. You don't rise when you go viral. You rise when you go silent and still choose to show up, still choose to write, still choose to run, still choose to fast, to train, to build, to believe so when nothing around you gives you permission. That's where legacy is born. Not in the spotlight, but in the silence. Not in the moment of reward, but in the months of refusal. when you refuse to quit, when you refuse to be average, when you refuse to settle into the identity that life handed you. Because at some point, you must decide, am I here to impress? Or am I here to become? Because becoming costs everything. It will cost your excuses. It will cost your comfort. It will cost your need to be liked. It will cost your addiction to ease, to doubt, to delay. But what it gives back is the power to carry the weight you were born for. There comes a moment when you must stop waiting for breakthrough and realize the breakthrough has been waiting for you. Not the you that negotiates with fear, not the you that lets circumstances vote on your value, not the you who needs outside validation before taking an inside step. No, the version of you that breaks timelines by breaking patterns. The version of you who understands that transformation doesn't begin with outcomes. It begins with standards. Your standard for what you tolerate. Your standard for how early you rise. Your standard for how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. Your standard for what you consume physically, mentally, spiritually. Because when your standards change, your destiny has no choice but to follow. But if you're still feeding your doubt, don't be surprised when it grows into your identity. If you're still feeding distractions, don't cry when your calling feels distant. The world isn't against you, but it will mirror your discipline. Because discipline is not punishment, it's permission. Permission to rise, permission to carry greatness, permission to step into opportunities without being crushed by the weight of them. You say you want the next level, but can you withstand the silence of preparation? You say you're ready for more, but have you built a mind that won't collapse under the pressure of responsibility? Everyone wants the crown, but no one wants the crucible. And that's why so many stay average, not because they weren't gifted, but because they couldn't outlast their own excuses. The excuses that say, I don't feel ready. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. Let me tell you the truth, tomorrow is where most legacies go to die. Tomorrow is where calling gets buried under comfort. Tomorrow is where miracles suffocate under the weight of mediocrity. You don't need a better plan. You need a better decision. And that decision starts today. Right now. In this breath. In this choice. In this moment where everything in your life either becomes an anchor or a launch pad. And that's the power you've forgotten you had. The power to choose differently. The power to say, I won't die full of potential. I won't pass on my fears to the next generation. I won't be the one who almost became something. No, I will become it. I will become the one who carried it. I will become the one who stood up when everyone else sat down. Because I finally understand. I don't get to skip preparation and still inherit the promise. You won't receive what you're not prepared to carry. Because the blessing always weighs more than the burden. People pray for overflow, but forget that overflow means responsibility. Responsibility to stay grounded when things go well. Responsibility to stay focused when applause is loud. Responsibility to stay hungry when your table is full. You must be built to hold the success you say you want. Otherwise, it will crush you. And the crushing won't be public. No, it'll happen in silence, behind smiles, behind fake gratitude, behind a life that looks like it's thriving but feels like it's suffocating. Because there's a difference between being seen and being ready. A difference between showing up with ambition and showing up with alignment. So before you chase what's next, ask yourself, am I a match for what I'm asking for? Because life is not giving out trophies for talent. It's giving out territory to those who trained in obscurity, those who stayed when others fled, those who said no when compromise looked easy. And it's not sexy, it's not loud, it's not glamorous, it's slow, it's gritty, it's internal. That's why most people will never get there. Not because they lack capacity, but because they lack consistency. You don't rise because you're inspired once. You rise because you obey daily. You don't become powerful by shouting affirmations. You become powerful by obeying the whisper. That quiet voice at 5 a.m. that says, "Get up anyway." That tug in your gut that says, "Say no to the easy path." That fire that says, "Show up even when nobody's clapping." Obedience is how you prove you're ready. Not to the world, to yourself. Because the real battle isn't external. It never was. The war was never between you and your job, you and your critics, you and your competition. The war was always between two versions of you, the you that settles and the you that stretches, the you that survives and the you that builds, the you that complains and the you that creates. And only one of them gets to write your legacy. So who will it be? Because whether you act or avoid, you're still choosing. Whether you lead or delay, you're still deciding. There is no neutral life. There is no paused purpose. There is no convenient calling. There is only now. Only here. Only this version of you standing at the gates of who you could be. If you had the courage to carry what's yours. You say you want the next level, but can you withstand the silence of preparation? You say you're ready for more. But have you built a mind that won't collapse under the pressure of responsibility? Everyone wants the crown, but no one wants the crucible. And that's why so many stay average, not because they weren't gifted, but because they couldn't outlast their own excuses. The excuses that say, "I don't feel ready, I'm too tired, I'll start tomorrow." Let me tell you the truth, tomorrow is where most legacies go to die. Tomorrow is where calling gets buried under comfort. Tomorrow is where miracles suffocate under the weight of mediocrity. You don't need a better plan. You need a better decision. And that decision starts today. Right now, in this breath, in this choice, in this moment where everything in your life either becomes an anchor or a launch pad. And that's the power you've forgotten you had. The power to choose differently. The power to say, "I won't die full of potential. I won't pass on my fears to the next generation. I won't be the one who almost became something. No, I will become it. I will become the one who carried it. I will become the one who stood up when everyone else sat down. Because I finally understand. I don't get to skip preparation and still inherit the promise. Preparation doesn't always look like glory. Sometimes it looks like being overlooked. Sometimes it looks like obscurity. It looks like long nights, empty rooms, small wins no one claps for, silent battles no one sees. But that's where the foundation is laid. The stage isn't what builds you. The struggle is. You think the world is withholding your moment, but the truth is your character isn't yet heavy enough to hold it. Because legacy isn't about what you achieve, it's about what you sustain. And you will never sustain what you didn't sweat for. You must become the person who can carry the weight. You must develop the spine to bear the pressure, the humility to keep learning, the endurance to walk when it's boring, the focus to show up when nobody's watching, and the ruthlessness to say no to distractions wearing disguises. You think you're being denied, but you're being developed. You think you're stuck, but you're still soft clay being shaped by the seasons you're trying to escape. And if you run now, you'll be gifted the thing your ego wants, but crushed by the responsibility your character can't support. Success without preparation is sabotage dressed as favor. Because the truth is, every breakthrough comes with a breaking first. Every blessing comes with a burden. And you don't get to receive it until your soul is strong enough to carry it through the storm. This is the part no one teaches. This is the price behind the prize. And this is why most never receive what they were promised. They prayed for rain but never learned how to carry water. They wanted influence but stayed inconsistent. They talked about dreams but never trained for discipline. So don't you dare ask God for greatness if you're not willing to walk through obscurity with grace. Don't beg for the door to open if you're not already sharpening the skill to sustain what's behind it. Because the world doesn't give you what you ask for. It gives you what you prepare for. If you're done living stuck, if this stirred something you know you can't ignore, like the video, not for us, but as a signal to yourself that this moment mattered. Drop a comment. Let us know what you're breaking free from. Share it. Someone in your life is silently drowning, waiting for a word like this. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is revealed by what you tolerate. You tolerate laziness. You attract delay. You tolerate procrastination. You attract regret. You tolerate fear. You attract limits. But when you start to raise your standards, when you stop letting your mind negotiate with weakness, when you stop accepting less from yourself, you begin to shift the gravitational pull of your destiny. The right doors don't open because you knock harder. They open because you become the person they were built for. So if you want more, you must become more. If you're called to carry something greater, then you must be willing to train in silence, bleed in private, and show up daily without applause. Because your potential doesn't respond to hype. It responds to hunger. And hunger doesn't shout, it sharpens. Every great life was forged in obscurity. Moses was hidden. David was in the fields. Joseph was in prison. Jesus was in the wilderness. Why? Because the wilderness is where the weight is built, where the soul is stretched, where obedience is tested, where discipline is no longer an option, it's survival. You say you're waiting on the blessing, but maybe the blessing is waiting on you, waiting for you to show up early, waiting for you to speak truth to yourself, waiting for you to stop scrolling and start building, waiting for you to stop entertaining your comfort and start confronting your calling. Every day you don't act, you reinforce the lie that you're not ready. Every hour you hesitate, you write the story that someone else will live your dream. But let me tell you something. The blessing is heavy, the breakthrough is sharp, and the favor comes wrapped in fire. You don't just receive greatness, you get refined into it, and the world. It doesn't reward the most talented, it rewards the most prepared. There's a weight to greatness. Not everyone is built for it, but everyone is called. The question is not whether you've been chosen. The question is, will you choose yourself? Will you step into the fire that forges the few? Will you carry what others drop? You keep saying you're waiting on the right moment, but the right moment is not something you wait for. It's something you make. And the tools you use to make it are invisible: conviction, courage, consistency. When no one claps, the world doesn't owe you clarity. God doesn't owe you comfort. Your destiny doesn't owe you timing. What you're called to carry won't come with a map. It'll come with a mirror, and every day you'll have to face it. Am I becoming someone who can bear the blessing I'm begging for? Because heaven is not looking for qualified hands. It's looking for willing hearts. Hearts that obey before they understand. Hearts that move without needing applause. Hearts that are more loyal to the mission than to their own moods. You want to carry impact. Then first carry the unseen weight of integrity. You want influence, then carry the discipline of preparation when nobody's watching. You want freedom, then carry the chains of self-mastery until they turn into wings. The breakthrough you're chasing isn't in the hands of others. It's in the habits you repeat when nobody's around. It's in the moment you choose discipline over drama, devotion over distraction, focus over feelings. Because make no mistake, you are in training, not for a comfortable life, but for a consecrated one. One that leaves legacy, one that shifts generations, one that heaven can trust. And heaven will not pour power into a vessel that leaks. It will not send rain to a seed that refuses to be planted. So bury your excuses, water your standards, and stand in the soil long enough to become. Become the kind of person that pressure can't shake. That delay can't discourage. That fear can't silence. That blessing doesn't break it, magnifies. Because if you dare to prepare, what you carry will change everything. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you're ready for. Life doesn't hand out titles, it hands out tests. And whether you pass isn't determined by your dreams. It's determined by your discipline. You've cried for more. You've prayed for more. You've begged the universe, the heavens, yourself for the next level. But the next level isn't locked behind a door. It's locked inside you. And the key is obedience. Not when it feels good, not when it's easy, but when it hurts, when it costs, when it demands you become someone even you no longer recognize because the old you can't carry what's coming. Stop asking for power if you're not willing to hold pressure. Stop asking for visibility if you still fold in the dark. Stop asking for the crown if you won't bleed for the cause. You say you're waiting on a sign. This is it. You say you're not ready. No one ever is. But the ones who rise, the ones who walk into the fire, they don't wait to feel prepared. They become prepared by walking anyway. So take the step. Make the decision. Burn the exit. Build the spine. Choose the hard path. Carry the thing that feels too heavy. Because when you become the kind of person who can carry it, the world won't just notice. The world will change. And if this message shook something awake in you, don't keep it quiet. Share it. Speak it. Live it. Because there are people counting on you to rise. And you can't pass the weight if you never learn to carry it. Your calling is waiting. The only question is, will it find you ready? If you're ready to carry more, subscribe. If you're ready to become more, stay with us. Because this isn't just a channel. It's a movement for those who refuse to die average. Motivational Hill Mindset. We're not here to inspire you. We're here to wake you up.